Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 8th Dharma talk. Today we will be delving deeper into the profound teachings of the Buddha, building upon our previous explorations. But before we begin, let's briefly recap the key insights we have gained so far. In our previous talks, we embarked on the journey through the foundations of Satipatthāna. Let's quickly revisit the main points we covered. We explored the body, feelings, mind states, perceptions, and began to look at the fourth foundation, understanding their interconnections and their significance in our practice. We looked at codependent origination. We looked at distorted perception. And we looked at intoxicating influences, asavas. These teachings have provided a solid foundation for our continued exploration. Talk 1 was about Satipatthāna. It was about the first foundation. In our first talk, we delved into the Satipatthāna, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. We focused on the first foundation, which is the body, kaya. We learned how to bring our attention to the sensations and experiences of our physical form, cultivating awareness in the present moment. Talk 2, feelings, the second foundation. Moving forward, we explored the second foundation, which is feelings, Vedana. We examined the intricate relationship between the body and the mind, understanding how our feelings arise and influence our experiences. Talk 3, 6 sense doors from the fourth foundation. Continuing our journey, we explored from the fourth foundation the 6 sense doors, the ayatana or salayatana. We discovered how our senses connect us to the world, becoming gateways to profound insights and wisdom. Talk 4, Citta, the third foundation. In our fourth talk, we dived into the third foundation, which is the mind, Citta. We explored the various mind states and functions, understanding the intricate workings of our mind controls and mind states. Talk 5, meditation techniques and hindrances. Shifting gears, we dedicated our 5th talk to meditation techniques. We practiced the rising and falling and touching points techniques, learning to cultivate deep concentration and mindfulness. We also explored the 5 hindrances that can obstruct our progress on the path. Talk 6, dependent origination. Our 6th talk took us into the profound teachings of dependent origination. We investigated the interconnected nature of existence, understanding how our actions and intentions shape our experiences and contribute to the cycle of suffering. Talk 7 was on perception, asavas, Satipatthāna in practice, and 5 aggregates. In this talk, we delved into the fascinating topic of perception, asavas, the intoxicating defilements, the practical application of Satipatthāna, and the 5 aggregates. We explored how these aspects shape our perception of reality and the path to liberation. Our next topic now, as we look ahead, will be the 16 insight stages, where we will unravel the profound insights and transformations that can arise along the path of practice. I hope this recap has refreshed your memory and reignited your enthusiasm for the journey we've embarked upon together. So, without further ado, let us dive into the fascinating world of the 16 insight stages. These stages offer a profound framework for understanding the nature of our experiences and the path to liberation. They provide valuable guidance as we deepen our practice and cultivate wisdom. In this segment, we will embark on a fascinating journey through the 16 insight stages. Each stage presents a unique perspective on the nature of reality and offers valuable insights into the workings of the mind. Let's explore these stages one by one, unraveling the layers of wisdom they hold. Insight stage 1, knowledge of mind and body. The first insight stage is insight into the knowledge of mind and body, and it involves observing and understanding the impermanent and conditioned nature of our physical and mental experiences. Through mindfulness and introspection, we gain insight into the interconnectedness of body and mind, realizing their changing nature. Insight stage 2, the knowledge of cause and effect. Building upon the first stage, the knowledge of cause and effect helps us to recognize the intricate web of causes and conditions that shape our experiences. We begin to see how our actions, thoughts, and intentions create ripple effects, shaping our present and future circumstances. Insight stage 3, knowledge of 3 characteristics. The third stage is insight into the knowledge of the 3 characteristics. This stage invites us to deeply investigate the 3 universal characteristics of existence: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self. We develop a profound understanding that everything is impermanent, incapable of providing lasting satisfaction, and devoid of a fixed and independent self. Insight stage 4, knowledge of contemplating, arising, and passing away. This is the 4th stage, where we observe the continuous arising and ceasing of mental and physical phenomena. We become attuned to the transient nature of our experiences, witnessing their impermanence with clarity and equanimity. In the 5th stage, the knowledge of dissolution, we observe the dissolution and disappearance of mental and physical phenomena. This insight deepens our understanding of impermanence and allows us to let go of feeding misperceptions, attachments, and fueling many forms of the fevers of unsatisfied longing. Insight stage 6, knowledge of drawbacks and risks. In the knowledge or understanding of drawbacks or disadvantages, a stage of insight in the Buddhist practice, one becomes aware of the inherent drawbacks and unsatisfactoriness of phenomena, including the aggregates, the 5 aggregates of physical form, feeling, perception, mind states and mental formations, and sense awareness, and all conditioned phenomena. Insight stage 7, the knowledge of fearfulness. Fear arises as we confront the impermanence and uncertainty of existence. The 7th stage, the knowledge of fearfulness, allows us to directly face and understand the fears and anxieties that arise within us. We develop courage and equanimity to meet these fears with wisdom and compassion. Inside stage 8, the knowledge of disenchantment. Disenchantment is the 8th stage of insight. We experience a shift in our perception as we see through the illusions and limitations of worldly pursuits. The allure of sensory pleasures diminishes, leading us to seek true happiness beyond external circumstances. Insight stage 9, the knowledge of desire for deliverance. The 9th stage emerges as we cultivate a strong aspiration for liberation. We recognize the unsatisfactory nature of conditioned existence and yearn for freedom from the cycle of suffering. This desire becomes a driving force on our spiritual path. The 10th stage is the knowledge of reobservation. Here, we deepen our ability to observe and investigate the arising and passing away of mental and physical phenomena. This stage brings greater clarity and insight into the nature of reality. Moving on to the 11th stage, we enter the knowledge of equanimity. Equanimity arises as we develop a balanced and non-reactive mind. We observe experiences with calmness and acceptance. In the 12th stage, the knowledge of conformity, we recognize the conformity and pattern nature of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. We gain insight into the conditioned nature of our responses and strive to free ourselves from unwholesome patterns, cultivating wholesome qualities instead. The 13th stage is the knowledge of the path. Here we gain a clear understanding of the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. The path leading to the cessation of suffering we cultivate directly. In one moment, right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And it guides us into liberation. Insight stage 14 is knowledge of release. And moving forward, we enter the 14th stage, knowledge of release. At this stage, we experience a profound sense of liberation and freedom from the cycle of suffering. We transcend those attachments, the identifications that have been binding us, realizing the ultimate truth of non-self. Insight stage 15, knowledge of fruition of the path, the knowledge which realizes the fruit of the path of Nibbana. And insight stage 16, knowledge of revision, the knowledge which reviews the defilements still remaining. Let's look at some famous meditation masters' quotes on insight. Mahasi Sayadaw, from the Saleka Sutta discourses. Since every physical or mental phenomena arises and vanishes instantly, there is no reason to believe in a living ego entity. The object known, as well as the knowing consciousness, is always subject to dissolution, and the only reality is the ceaseless flux of psychophysical elements that are passing away. And another quote, in brief, it is the insight knowledge of the continuous flux of all psychophysical phenomena, together with the three marks of existence, that brings home to the meditator the futility of attachment, of conceit, and of ego belief, and makes one see Nibbana on the first path of holiness. It is only then that one is entirely free from wrong views. His contemporary, Sayadaw U Pandita, from In This Very Life. This list is given with a strong cautionary note. If you are practicing meditation, don't think about progress. It is quite impossible for even the most experienced meditator to evaluate their own practice. From Ajahn Chah. Remember, you don't meditate to get anything, but to get rid of things. We do it not with desire, but with letting go. Deepa Ma. Though one should live 100 years without comprehending how all things rise and pass away, better yet indeed is a single day's life of one who comprehends the rising and passing away of all things. This was Deepa Ma's favorite teaching from the Buddha, and she would repeat it daily. Bhante Gunaratana. Mindfulness gives you time. Time gives you choices. Choices, skillfully made, lead to freedom. You don't have to be swept away by your feeling. You can respond with wisdom and kindness, rather than habit and reactivity. And another one. When you see deeply as a real experience with your own wisdom eye that all conditioned things are impermanent, your mind state changes. Your superficial understanding of impermanence becomes a deep understanding, and you attain the stream entry path. Let's take a light-hearted yet profound look at how these insights resonate with our day-to-day experiences. If we compare the stages of insight to learning how to ride a bicycle, just as we progress from using training wheels to balancing on our own, each stage of insight brings us closer to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the nature of reality. To make these abstract concepts more relatable, we're going to be looking at everyday examples and drawing parallels between our everyday experiences and the insights gained through meditation. Using the metaphor of cleaning a messy room to explain the defilements, just as we tidy up a cluttered space, we can recognize and address the defilements in our minds, creating a more peaceful and harmonious inner environment. Or let's use the analogy of cooking a recipe. Just as we follow step-by-step instructions to create a delicious dish, each insight stage unfolds progressively, adding layers of understanding to our spiritual journey. And thirdly, compare the defilements to weeds in a garden. Just as we need to uproot the weeds to allow our flowers to flourish, we must uproot the defilements to cultivate positive qualities such as compassion, wisdom, and joy. Having explored the 16 insight stages, let's now shift our focus to the 10 defilements. These defilements are mental obstacles that hinder our progress on the path to awakening. By understanding and overcoming these defilements, we can cultivate greater clarity, peace, and wisdom. So let's dive into the depths of our minds and shed light on these defilements. Our next topic, the 10 upakilesas or subtle defilements. These defilements are the obstacles that hinder our progress on the path to liberation. Understanding them is essential for our spiritual growth and cultivating wholesome qualities. For example, greediness. There's an insatiable hunger for more. Like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much meditation experience we accumulate, It never satisfies our deep longing. Oscar Wilde once said, nowadays people know the price of everything and the value of nothing. In this segment, we will explore the 10 upakilesas in detail. We will examine their nature and how they manifest in our practice, and thus our lives, and their effects on our spiritual progress. By shining a light on these defilements, we gain the wisdom needed to overcome them and cultivate wholesome qualities in their place. So here is a list of the 10 upakilesas. I want to show you a little bit of animation to illustrate them. So our meditator progresses along the path. They're not levitating. They're just progressing along the path. Sooner or later, experiences come along to distract of tranquility, of knowledge, of excess mindfulness, of religious fervour, and illumination, bliss. And all of these, or any of these, are liable to take us away. Religious fervour might carry us away. We try to convert everyone we know. We might want to become a nun or a monk. Delight and satisfaction might arise up. Tranquility, over equanimity or over exertion. Excess mindfulness is even one. Over exertion, rapture, religious fervour, bliss or delight might carry us off the path where we cannot anymore learn about our defilements, our suffering, insights into the impermanence of our experiences. So let's take a more in-depth look. The first, illumination or bhasa. When a meditator sees bright lights, they might think they have reached nibbana and so become satisfied with this state, causing greed and craving to arise, tanha. This is wrong view. It is their ego that thinks they have reached nibbana. And so becomes satisfied with the state, causing craving. Cravings arise, and this is wrong view. It's their ego that thinks they have realized nibbana. It is their ego that thinks they are fully enlightened. The second is knowledge, jnana. Some meditators who know Dharma theory well will think about it all the time, and this will pull them out of the present moment. It's not only Dharma theories in knowledge, but also other theories really well, such as biology, chemistry, physics, or mathematics. They will think about it all the time, and this will pull them out of the present moment. The next is the third one. It's piti, piety, or rapture, because the meditator has too much concentration or samadhi. They feel rapture, excessive bliss, and this is kilesa, the defilement of greed. There's not just one of these. There's about 5 levels of piti, which we can see on the slide about mind, citta. It's under interest. Because the meditator has too much concentration, too much bliss, when practicing vipassana, one cannot have too much bliss, because realizing the 3 characteristics does not lead to a joyful feeling. It leads to a sober feeling. One leads to party land, and the other leads to insight and wisdom. Fourthly, tranquility, passaddhi. Sometimes a very peaceful state will arise, and that is also from too much samadhi. 3 characteristics cannot be realized with tranquility, and wisdom cannot be developed. So one becomes like a ship, becalmed. It cannot move forward. The sails are slack. We cannot get traction, and our progress just stays where it is. Not getting insight and not moving forward in that sense. Six, bliss or sukha. A feeling of bliss is also a result of too much samadhi, too much concentration. When sukha or happiness occurs, then dukkha cannot be seen. Next, fervor or adhimokkha, excessive effort. This causes the meditator to falsely believe that they have seen Nibbana, and they will often not even believe their teacher when told the contrary. And this is because by having too much faith, fervor, saddha, too little panya. Normally, panya, wisdom, and saddha, faith, should be equal. And this is excess faith. They can become stubborn and demanding. They believe no more training is required for them. Next, 7, exertion, pakaha, too much perseverance or effort. Can make a yogi tired, and their mind is not clear, and wandering mind sets in. Usually perseverance and concentration should be equal, energy, effort and concentration. Too much energy and effort leads to wandering mind, and too much concentration will cause the yogi to stop practicing. Excess sati, excess mindfulness. Upatana. Too much sati can lead to excess concentrating, and meditators may see images that appear before the eyes. Then they will lose body and mentality as objects. They will be out of the present moment and won't be able to continue. Equanimity, upekkha. Sometimes strong equanimity will arise, and the yogi will falsely believe that they have no kilesas, no defilements at all, that they're perfect, no kilesas, that all faults have been eradicated already by Nibbana, and they still have the defilement of wrong view, moha, and liking, lopa, and disliking, dosa, but they've only gone temporarily. In this stage, they cannot continue to practice. Along our journey, let's take moments to sprinkle some wit and humour into our exploration, and drawing inspiration from great minds like Mark Twain, Oscar Wilde and Clive James, we can gain fresh perspectives and infuse our practice with lightness and joy. Remember, meditation is the art of sitting in silence and contemplating life's great mysteries. It's like fishing in the river of your thoughts, patiently waiting for a big idea to bite. But be warned, just as in fishing, sometimes you end up with an old boot instead of a profound revelation. Nevertheless, cast your line and see where the currents of your mind take you. As Mark Twain humorously quipped, the only constant in life is change, except for vending machines. One more. Meditation is the art of sitting in silence, discovering that even boredom can be entertaining. And finally, you can't teach an old dogma new tricks, from Dorothy Parker. And one more. I'm not young enough to know everything, Oscar Wilde, being satirical. Recap and conclusion. So, as we near the end of our talk, let's recap the insights we have explored today. We delved into the 16 insight stages, unraveling the layers of wisdom they offer. We then turned our attention to the 10 upakilesas, understanding their influence on our spiritual path. Today we embarked on a journey through the 16 insight stages and explored the 10 defilements that hinder our progress. We discovered that true liberation lies in understanding the nature of our mind, cultivating mindfulness, and overcoming the obstacles that keep us trapped in suffering. Incorporating the wisdom of great minds and humour of renowned wits, we have deepened our understanding while maintaining a light-hearted perspective. Remember, our journey does not end here. Let us carry these insights into our daily lives, cultivating mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion in each moment. Some final thoughts. Our journey through Satipatthāna continues, and we have built a strong foundation for further exploration. As we integrate these teachings into our lives, let us remember the importance of dedication and consistent practice. By cultivating wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, we continue to progress on the path to liberation. And before we conclude, I'd like to leave you with these words from Clive James. We must be willing to let go of the life we have planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. Embrace the unfolding of your own unique path with openness and courage. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for joining me on this journey. Your presence and dedication are inspiring. If you have any questions or would like to explore these teachings further, please don't hesitate to reach out. Remember, the beauty of the Dharma lies not only in the words we share, but also in the direct experience of it in our own lives. So thank you. Thank you for all for your presence and engagement in today's Dhamma talk. May these insights guide you towards greater wisdom, peace, and liberation. Remember, the journey of awakening is a lifelong pursuit. May you continue to walk this path with curiosity, determination, and an open heart. Some closing words before we conclude. Let's take a moment to reflect on the profound impact these teachings can have on our journey of self-discovery and liberation. As we continue to walk this path, may we cultivate patience, perseverance, and compassion for ourselves and others. Thank you once again for your presence and engagement. I hope our time together has deepened your understanding and inspired you on your spiritual journey. May the wisdom and compassion of the Buddha's teachings guide you towards true freedom and happiness. Farewell, and may you be well, happy, and at peace.